Welcome back, everybody. It's the Wildcat Alley podcast. I'm Alex Margatulio, my main man, Juice Thompson. We are on episode 4, season 2. And I'm proud to tell you all the Wildcat Alley is now sponsored by Underdog Sports. We're their newest partner. And on top of that, I got even better news for you. They're currently running a promotional code for all new users. The easiest way for you to get in on this special is by downloading the Underdog Fantasy app and using our code WCA24. Even if you've already registered but haven't deposited, you can still use this promo. So get started today and come play along with Juice and I at Underdog Fantasy. Looking forward to this partnership. And Juice, obviously off the top, some exciting news, partner with Underdog, but a little bit of a whirlwind week. Let's get into it a little bit here. Yeah. A tale of two teams, really. The Cats go down to Champaign and really just get their teeth kicked in from the jump. And then, we come back to Welsh Ryan on an electric Sunday night and take down a red-hot Michigan State Spartan team. So curious to hear your thoughts on the week, starting with the bloodbath down in Champaign. What were your thoughts there? And really, how do you think we turned that around and had a much different result here at home?
Yeah, like you mentioned, we're excited to be partnering with Underdog, fantasy sports. This is a big thing. And, speaking about Northwestern, man, that was a tough game to watch down in Champaign. As you know, it's tough playing there. They're a great team. And, they came out and they had a chip on their shoulders. Right now they don't have one of their key guys, Terrence Shannon, playing, and they got other people stepping up. That's what it takes for the good teams to win. Guys stepping up once they have the opportunity. But just feel like from the tip, we didn't have any energy. We didn't play our game. We didn't play defense. We had no answer for their guards, even their bigs. They were stretching us out. And Coleman Hawkins picking and popping, hitting the three, driving to the lane, getting dunks. And then the guard, Domask. He's, as we talked about a little while ago, he's special. He's special. Yeah, it's like, they give him the ball and do what you want to do. And, it was a tough loss. Boo still had 20 points, but he wasn't able to create. And, that's something that, reading and hearing in the press conferences, the coaches wanted to kind of adjust that and get the ball moving a little bit for that next game against Michigan State, because it felt like, a lot of people were just standing around watching. And it was just tough. But, you got to give a lot of credit to the Cats. Came back, worked hard, made some adjustments. And as you mentioned, got a big win against Michigan State. Sold out crowd. It was a whiteout. 5-6 days before, they were sending the emails announcing that the game was sold out, and you were there. So we'd love to hear your opinion about what the atmosphere was like and what you saw, because obviously it was two different teams. The ball was moving a lot better. We took care of the ball, made shots, and we were playing defense how we usually play. We were playing pretty much the Wildcats game.
Yeah, I agree with you, Juice, and I'll touch on Illinois in a little bit, but I'll answer your first question about the Michigan State game. I thought we played together. I think we had 22 assists on 32 makes. Yeah. That's Wildcat basketball, right? Like, we need the ball to be popping around. We need to be hitting our cutters and making crisp passes. I feel like that just wasn't the case earlier in the week. And I know CC mentioned in his presser about player and ball movement and getting back to that cutting and crisp passing game, which I think we had right from the jump against Michigan State. We were hitting guys in stride, in the shooting pocket. Guys were ready to play as well. I feel like we were just ready to play. The energy was there. Obviously, the home crowd helps, which was incredible. But I feel like we just went back to our roots and we're like, okay, we're going to run good stuff. And we're going to put our best players in situations to score. Ty Berry was incredible last night. Probably, I think I've said this a couple times already. It's his best game he's played as a Wildcat, but he did a tremendous job offensively and just was able to stretch that Michigan State defense, who likes to play that pack line, and then just opened up a ton of opportunities for others, as we saw. So, Boo, first career double-double, which I was actually surprised about. I thought he had a few before. But again, just another really clean game from him. No turnovers, 10 assists,
That's amazing.
and a really quiet 19 points. He didn't shoot the ball all that well, but was good defensively when he had to guard Tyson Walker. I know he got his 27, but he was doing a good job off the ball, making it difficult for him. And then, he did a good job of drawing fouls. We got them in the bonus early and allowed them to not be as aggressive defensively. And again, just opened up a lot of opportunities for others. I want to give a shout out to Luke Hunger as well. Another great adjustment by the staff, inserting him into the starting lineup. He gave us great 20 minutes of ball yesterday, 5 or 6 from the field, 10 points, 4 or 5 rebounds, but did a really good job of maintaining their front line. And then when he got the ball, scoring inside, being a good facilitator out on the perimeter as well, and setting good screens. So our main scorers would get open. I mean, all that in unison really provided us the best game plan moving forward, and really from, let's call it the 10-minute mark of the second half on, we really dominated them on both sides of the court.
Did. And, like I know you mentioned Luke. And, another thing that stood out, like you said, we're playing Wildcat ball with the ball. It's moving around. Everybody's touching it. All 5 starters were in double digits.
Yeah, I
And,
love that.
That's tough to beat when you just don't know who to key in on. And it just seemed like everybody was in sync. No one was selfish. Everyone was genuinely happy for each other, no matter who was scoring the ball. And, I just think that was it's like night and day, tale of two teams. But obviously, we came out, protected home court. And one other thing that stood out, we think we have the advantage 21-2 in points off turnovers. And as you know, Michigan State, they're trying to get up and down. I think, we did a pretty good job after watching the game again, seeing that we, for the most part, got back in transition defense and were able to set up and kind of pack it in and not let them get out and get that momentum that they like to get, throwing lobs, getting a dunk, getting the crowd involved. So I think we did a really, really good job. Was there anything from the Illinois game that stood out you want to touch on? I know that was in the past and we got beat pretty good, but
I think from that game was, I think, another one of those games that you just kind of flush, right? Illinois just got everything they wanted right from the jump, right? I mean, they went to their ISO ball pretty early and just gave Damas the rock, and we're like, okay, well, we're gonna ISO him on the wing and he's gonna make the right play, and he did. Like, credit to him, he was making some really tough jumpers. He's nice. Like, I wasn't that familiar. I hadn't watched Illinois all that much leading up to the game. I watched him in spurts, and this is when Shannon was playing. So being able to just give him the ball and have him isolate one of our guys on the wing, that's tough to guard, right? It basically eliminates our pack line, our help, and our ability to cause deflections and steals, especially when you have a leader like Damask on the floor that can really just make the right play. Not only was he making shots, he was finding the right guys, and they were able to get that additional pass to wide open shooters, and they were knocking them down. They have a good team. I was impressed with Illinois, but I don't even remember the last time we gave up 96. So I there's a lot to digest from that game, but I think it was more of okay, they were red hot. They had a guy that scored 32, made all the right plays. They were at home, and then they fed off of that energy that they needed, and that chip on their shoulder for having one of their stars out. So, I was impressed with them. I was down on our performance, but seeing us come back and bounce back against Michigan State, that was more in line with, I feel like, what we're going to see over the course of the rest of the Big Ten season and hopefully into March. I think if we have that balanced scoring attack, and it was good to see Brooks back too, right? The tape was off the hand a little bit more. I really wanted to call that out as well. I think he was struggling a little bit with that tape on that shooting hand. As you know, anything that goes on that shooting hand can really impact the way it comes off your hand, your dribbling, your all that stuff. So I think he was a little out of sorts with that injury. So it was good to see him come back and really perform well against Michigan State. He had 16 and 7. So really getting back to his prowess on the offensive end was really good to see.
There we go. That makes sense. Yeah. I didn't. That was a great call out with Brooks, and then just being a player, understanding how something on your hand, especially a shooting hand, can throw you off. So, all right,
Yeah, I
well,
mean, what was he? What was he against Illinois? He was
he didn't shoot
from
it.
the field, three
He
of 12, right? And a
a lot
couple
of
of
his
those were
garbage
later.
time, you know. Yeah,
So I think I really think that had a big impact um, on what was going on. And then let's talk about Martinelli as well. I mean, he has been uh, a really nice bench addition, right?
yeah,
His improvement has really showed up. I
yeah,
think his conditioning is improving a little bit. Like, he was out all the fall with a foot injury, so him getting back into the swing of things, and he's averaging 7 a game, couple rebounds, couple assists. He's not turning the ball over. He's starting to settle in a little bit defensively as well. He has been a really nice boost off the bench. What else are you seeing out there?
Man, so like you said, pretty much he's stuffing the stat sheet, but for something that really stands out to me with him is the energy he comes in with. He's able to, change the pace and the style of the game when he comes in. Sometimes we may get off to a slow start, and he's coming in, and he's capable of making a three, but also he's patient in the paint, in the post. He's got some tricky post moves, and then he's
Yeah,
getting to that left hand, and then you see he gets an and one, he gets a deflection, dives on the floor, he's screaming, getting the crowd involved, hyping his teammates up. So I love, in addition to him, adding rebounds, points, and everything, I love the energy that he's bringing. I
yeah,
really feel like he's able to change the game sometimes for us in a good way with that
yeah.
energy.
It's a great point. That's a great point. That's
Yeah,
a great point. Like that guy off the bench needs to bring energy. They need to bring, a shot of enthusiasm, especially, I mean, because a starter's going to come off the floor. You're going to need to, insert yourself into that game, be ready to play. And I think he's done a really good job of that. He hasn't really needed any time uh, to settle in or anything like that. As soon as he comes in off the bench, he is rip roaring ready to go. He's not afraid either, right? He's taking shots as soon as he gets in. He doesn't need to swing it a couple times.
yeah,
He's able to get in that post, get to that spin back to that left every time. I don't
yeah.
know if I've ever seen him shoot a right-handed shot.
Me either. I don't think so either. But somehow, some way, he's getting to that left hand.
Yeah,
He's efficient down there too. So it's great to have, especially with his height, his strength, and everything. Being able to finish and step out and hit the three. He's great. He's been a huge, huge help for us off the bench.
yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah.
Well, that was a good recap on everything. Again, I think the Illinois game is a little bit of an anomaly. Flush that one, and then we come back against Michigan State. Really solid performance, top to bottom, from start to finish. A dominating performance, and it was interesting to hear both Chris Collins and Coach Izzo's press conferences yesterday. Izzo obviously wasn't too impressed with his team's effort, but I think it's a huge, what do you say, like a huge uh, boost or a huge compliment that Izzo gave our guys is that, number one, we were ready to play and we just out physicaled them, right? And that doesn't happen a lot to a Michigan State team. So I just think it shows the toughness and the mentality that the coaching staff implemented throughout the rest of the week of getting back to Northwestern basketball, getting back to the roots of, okay, we need to defend at a high level, but at the same time, let's play free, but understand that we need to take care of the basketball and we need to get each other good looks. And I think all of that came to fruition last night in a really impressive effort, scoring 88 points against a team that's been red hot, that just held Penn State to like 50 points.
Yeah.
To come out and have a performance like that should trend positively into this week. So, let's get into the week ahead, right? We have another tough games,
On the
two games
road.
on the road, right?
Yes. Yeah.
No matter who you're playing in the conference. I know Penn State's struggling a little bit right now. But whenever you have to go there, it's a tough place to play,
Hmm.
right? It's the flight there is always chaotic, especially in the winter, right?
Yes. Yep.
We had to land,
So
outside of Happy Valley before and bus in on some crazy turbulence. Like that stuff happens. It's wild when you're trying to fly into Happy Valley. They play differently than everyone in the conference too, right? Like they
yeah.
press. They have really quick guards with Kanye Cleary and Ace Baldwin. Um, like so those are some things that I'm looking at with that game, and then obviously Wisconsin on Sunday. So what do you see forecasting for the rest of the week, and what can we expect out of the Cats?
Yeah, I see two tough games coming up. Like you mentioned, just because Penn State has been struggling as of late, you can't count them out. In the Big Ten, everyone's beating up on each other, and it's one game series pretty much. So anybody could beat anybody. And as you mentioned, Penn State plays a lot different than most of the teams with the pressing and the really good guards that they have. And one of the stat that I've noticed with Penn State, so Cleary, he's been the leading scorer 11 out of the 14 games,
Yep.
and they're 0-3. Well, no, 0-2 when he's not the leading scorer. And one of the games they won, he had 14 points as well as one other player. So I think that could be something that could be beneficial towards us. Obviously we always do a great job of keying in on the main guys. If we can kind of try to take him out and let some other players score and try to do more work, I think that can be helpful. But all in all, if we come out and play our style of play like we just did against Michigan State, because that's our identity. Play defense. We're going to trap in the post, share the ball, not just one person, everyone standing around watching. I think we'll be more than fine. And, a little interesting fact, talking about this with Taylor Battle not too long ago. I never beat Penn State, in my 4 years playing at Northwestern. And he said, since he's been coaching at Northwestern, he hasn't beat Penn State. So it's just something like I think it's time for us to finally get over that hump for me and Taylor's sake or whatever to get a win. Did you ever beat Penn State in your time there?
Yeah,
Oh,
we did.
you got them,
We beat
yeah.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
we beat him a couple of times.
Yeah.
Twice in Happy Valley.
Awesome.
Um, we struggled
Wow.
with him at home. I lost to him on my senior night. Career high for me, but took the
Yeah.
L.
Uh-huh.
Um, and like that was that. But again, just a tough place to play. You never know what the weather's going to be. It's a little cold in that arena because I think that I don't know if they put ice under the floor for the hockey.
Maybe.
It's
Yeah.
always cold in there. It's different. It's not always like fully packed either. So yeah, it's just an interesting place to play, and there's for your sake, for Taylor's sake, really want a dub there. I mean, obviously for our record's sake, we need that. That would get us to 3-1 in the conference, and then setting us up for a really difficult game on the road in Madison, 11 a.m. tip, Central Time. So that's going to be really difficult. Wisconsin is playing better than just about anyone in the country, especially in the conference.
Yeah.
They are looking like the second or third best team in the conference right now. They're scoring the ball. They have guys playing with extreme confidence. AJ Storr is a super athlete and a really good player, along with their guys that have a ton of experience. You're looking at Chucky
Sure.
Hepburn. You're looking at Tyler Wall, Stephen Crowell. Like those are really good Division I basketball players that have put up some really good numbers over the course of their career. So they're playing at a really high level. I think our styles mesh really well. Like we play very similar, right? We take care of the ball, passing, cutting, screening, really detail oriented on both sides. So I think it's going to be a really good matchup, probably the game of the weekend in the conference.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be, like you said, game of the week. We match up, and I feel like it's going to be one of those dogfight games where it comes down
Yeah.
to, you're going to, for our sake, we're going to put the ball in Boo's hands. But fortunately, we have other players that can make plays. But I think it might be one of those grinded out games. We're two great defensive teams. I think we're both only giving up like 66, 67 points. And, it's going to come down to rebounding too. They have statistically having a little advantage, and that's been an area we've kind of struggled a little bit. Our bigs haven't been, cleaning up on the glass. Even though yesterday we did a better job, I think we
Yeah.
only lost the rebounding battle by 2 to Michigan State, which says a lot because as you know, they're flying in for those offensive rebounds and everything. But I think like Penn State, we come out, we play our game, start on the defensive end, and move the ball around, kind of wear them down a little bit. I think we'll be fine. But it's tough playing at the Kohl Center, as you know. The crowd's going to be loud, and then you got to adjust playing at 11 a.m. We're not used to playing that early all the time, so
Yeah.
that's something else that goes into it too with your preparation and stuff. But I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be
That's a
fine.
good point. What do you think? Boo needs to do against that drop coverage that Wisconsin plays, right? Coming from a point guard like yourself, what are you looking to do against that type of coverage? Because I think for the most part, that's what they run, right? They stick to their defensive principles. If on screen roll, they're doing a lot of drop coverage with their big, trying to make you finish over the top. What would you do as a point guard trying to attack that coverage, not only to score for yourself, but to set your teammates up as well?
Yeah. As a point guard coming off those, you got to, as you talked about earlier in the pod, Luke Hunger and those guys screening. They have to set those screens, especially if that big is in a drop coverage. If our bigs can set a screen and sometimes maybe hold it for a second longer, that gives Boo, Ryan, those guys coming off the screen a little bit more time to get in the paint. And obviously, you got to come off a ball screen aggressive, looking to score. That doesn't mean shoot every time, but you got to put it in a defensive mind that you're coming off to score. And then that causes some mismatches. That makes draws guys into the paint to help, opens up your shooters on the wing. So Boo just has to come off aggressive. Guys set some good screens for him. And, he does have that mid-range. He can shoot the pull-up, but he's been really, really good over the last few years with that floater. So we'd love to see him get to his floater. And once he knocks down a few of those, help defense is going to have to step up. That's going to open it up for the shooters. And especially the way he played yesterday, 10 assists, 0 turnovers. I think he should be able to get in the paint and kind of, make a living, whether it's for himself or for his teammates. He does a great job keeping guys on his back, bumping them, staying, with his pivots and everything. So I think he'll be really good. I think he'll be really effective coming off screens, getting into the paint.
Yeah, I think that's a key to look out for, especially attacking that coverage. So good insight there, Juice, coming from the mind of a point guard.
Yeah. No, that's a good call out. I mean, that's a big thing. They're in that drop coverage. Wisconsin, they've been doing that since, we played in college. They were always
they haven't changed.
And that's their thing. They're playing their style, but I think we got the players that can, exploit that and take advantage and create for themselves and for their teammates. So I think our bigs are going to be important. Setting good screens, and then you still got to roll fast too to draw that big man back. So that way it causes some indecisiveness, if you'll say, whether the guard goes with the big or the big steps up to the guard. But I think we'll be more than fine as long as we play defense. We'll always have
defensively.
Our defense.
Defensively, I think we need to guard the 3-point line. When they're making threes, they're very difficult to beat.
Yeah.
I would love to know, what their record is if they score over 70 points. Probably very good, just based on, how they've been all year. But, if Wisconsin's scoring 70 to 75 points, you're in for a long night. So really looking to see that defensive energy pick up. Attention to detail, attention to the scout, I think is going to be super critical when trying to beat them at the Kohl Center. You basically have to play a perfect game because they're really tough at home. They always shoot the ball better there, and that crowd is tough, and it's a tough place to play. So good insight there.
Yeah. So expecting a big week, 1-1 for this last week. But as a Cats fan, alum, I'm saying we're going to go 2-0 this week, get 2 big wins on the road. Then we're going to keep this momentum going and enter our way back into the rankings. That's my vote.
I think so as well. I think it's a big week for us. I know we just got some votes in the AP poll. With the performance against Illinois, don't know if we deserve to creep into the top 25 yet. Although a lot of the bracketologists do have us in the tournament right now. We're still at a little bit of a higher seed. I'd love to see us put a little streak together, get to the top 25, and then get to that 5-6 line on the tournament seedings. Obviously, a ton of games left to go. We got to take care of business. I think you said something perfect earlier. Every game's a 1-game series, right? We need to prepare equally as hard for Penn State as we would for Wisconsin. Let's handle Penn State first. Have your couple days of prep, rest, get back into working on things to help you, and then, get ready for Wisconsin. So really eager to see how the Cats come out against these couple tough opponents here coming up.
Yeah. Should be interesting. So we'll be
One other thing to note that came out of news today regarding Billy McKinney's retirement ceremony.
Yes.
That's going to be March 2nd, I believe. And obviously you and I have a great relationship with Billy. We understand how much he means to the program and to basketball overall. So that's going to be a really exciting moment. Obviously, we'll talk about it in pods to come and hopefully have him on as well. But really going to be a special night in Welsh Ryan when we see that jersey go up into the rafters.
Definitely. Well deserved. Couldn't go to a better person, to have the first jersey retired. So definitely looking forward to that. We will be in the building. This was another great episode. We'll be back with you guys soon. And don't forget, promo code WCA24, Underdog Fantasy Sports. Appreciate you guys. Wildcat Alley. Alex, I'll let you take us out from there. It's
Yeah,
always.
appreciate you, Juice. Another great episode. Looking forward to the week ahead. And we'll be back soon with more content. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Was it Beyond the Big Ten? Shout out to you guys.